So, hey, Chris.
Hey, Rob. How are you?
Good to see you.
I love your introduction.
We're back for another weekly dose.
The dose.
A weekly dose.
I love it.
A weekly dose of the news that is new.
There would have been a time, Rob, in my past, whenever a weekly dose would have been a regular thing. If I'm being honest with you.
See, in North America, if you had a dose, you'd probably have to go to the doctor to get an injection.
It's the same here. It's the same here. It's the same here.
Oh,
Jesus, Rob. Jesus, Rob. Rock and roll, Rob. Rock and roll.
So I must say, this past week, photography news has been pretty slim.
Slim pickings, Rob. Slim pickings. As the viewers will say.
Very slim.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of stuff going on.
No.
I have 3 little short stories.
Mm-hmm.
I'll start with one that probably everybody's already heard. Everybody's probably already taken full advantage of.
Yes.
Is that Adobe has given away 2 months, given back 2 months to all their subscribers. So all you need to do is go onto the Adobe website, cancel your account, sign back up.
Oh, really? I didn't cancel. I just went on. I just went on.
Well, you go through to the end and you say it's too expensive, and then they offer you two free months.
Because I did it a slightly different way. I went on to. I just went on to Chitty Chat. And,
yes.
And asked, it's a robot, and then they asked you kind of.
Oh no, it isn't.
No, yeah, I think
not always.
Not always, but. It starts with a robot. If they can answer your questions robotically, I think they do it. I could be wrong saying this. But then I said I needed to speak to a human being. Well, maybe I was speaking to a human being and the human being was upset, put me on to another human being who would know. I did say it to him. I did say this one a couple of weeks ago to a phone company, and I was speaking to somebody, and they actually wrote back and said, "Do I come across like a robot?" And
there you go.
I know, I thought I'd heard that.
Obviously you do then, if you have to ask that question.
Jeez, I've gone red thinking about it, which I'm red anyway, so you probably can't say it, but I can feel more flushed. It was an awful situation. But yeah, that's what I did. And then, of course, but then you said something to me after. You said I should have got 3.
Yeah, I had heard from a few people online that if you push them on the online chat, they would give you an extra month, so you get 3 in total.
Well, they did.
I had just done this last year in late 2019, and they cut my full. I had the full plan for Creative Cloud. They cut my full plan in half.
No.
The price in half.
Hi.
Which used to be £48 a month, and they cut it down to 25.
But you'd probably save more than me. I saved something like 40 quid or something like that.
Well, I just saved whatever that is. What's 25 times 12? Oh, man, I can't do that right now, but
No, I can.
Like 350 pounds or something. No, it's not.
It's not. It's 49 packets of Littles, Rob. You know that, and I know that.
Yeah. It's 300 pounds.
No way. That's what you've saved.
Yeah.
Rob.
300 pounds a year. Now, it'll probably jump next year. But
jeez, I hope so for you. That seems so you could buy it.
Don't hold that. That's
no, you could. That's just.
I've been a good Adobe patron for years, since whatever it was, the early 90s.
No doubt.
So
1890s, Rob. Some people would say.
But that's also one thing that I do want to. I want to do a sidebar.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Well, is there something I should do for side? Should I do that?
So Adobe didn't do this because of the virus or this whole pandemic that's going on right now. They just did it. Okay? So they didn't say they did it for the virus, but they just did it.
You think not?
Well, they didn't say it, but it just happened. So regardless, how many other photography companies are actually out there doing something right now for photographers because of this
No, I know, man, I know.
Pandemic?
I am.
You know, you look at how everybody's dropping support for everybody. Like there's no support for any of these workers, for freelancers, for anybody. Nobody's doing anything.
Yeah.
Netflix has gone ahead and they're going to donate $100 million into the film industry for what's being lost over this virus.
That's not right.
Who's doing that in photography?
No, I know.
Anybody.
Yeah.
Is anybody doing anything? Like, and I'm not talking about, some strobe manufacturer giving me an extra 10% off, a little hot shoe strobe.
Yeah.
I'm talking about donating something back into the industry, like saying, let's say if you've registered your warranty for this particular camera brand in the past year, we will give you, $200 back or £200 back.
I'm gonna write to Sony.
Like a reverse rebate after the fact.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Like, why not?
Yeah.
Like, these companies make tons of money off of us.
Yeah.
And now we're stuck, at home in these four walls doing nothing. And granted, they're not making any money, really. Their sales obviously have dropped off a lot, but not necessarily. I mean, you can still buy online and you can still have the stuff shipped to you.
But I have to say, you've alienated some people who live in different shaped houses. We're up just there now, beside four walls.
In the roundhouses?
Yeah, around Octagon.
Or maybe they got 3 walls instead of 4.
Somebody's maybe, yeah.
Octagons?
Oh my God. The hippies.
But you know what I mean? I feel like freelancers in general have been forgotten about. And luckily, there's a big push in the United States, there's a big push in Canada, there's a big push in the UK, and probably all across the world for freelancers to get some sort of, rebates
from the government.
From the government.
Well,
yeah, government help.
Arts Council England, they're putting 20 million quid out. A friend sent me a thing yesterday. They put 20 million quid for artists that they're gonna give grants. I can't see.
Well, that's great.
No, I know.
That's
but,
great.
No, I mean, but
that's better than a kick in the ass.
It's better than it'll probably water down to a couple £100, but that's it makes you feel valued.
Who actually gets it in the end?
Well, of course, yeah, but it makes you feel valued that they're doing it. You know what I mean? You have to apply
Absolutely.
for it. But no, I get
so if anybody else can think of something that's being given back to photographers or freelancers, feel free to put it down into the description or into the comments below. We'd love to hear it.
100%. There's things happening, there's things happening which aren't financial, and I actually missed an opportunity. I have to go back and do something on Instagram, where my friends in Dublin, the south, were doing a thing which was kind of a list of artists' names, and they were putting it on, and you did another list, and it was kind of just a kind of a recognition in a sense. Of people who were in the same boat. You know what I mean? We're all kind of waving at each other, and I think those things, that even if there's not a monetary sense to them, there is because the thing is, all joking aside, we talk about four walls. Whenever you're a photographer, whenever you're an artist, it's four walls. The four walls become quite thick. You have a nice garden and stuff. We're out a lot. We're out all the time. Rain, hail, or shine nowadays. Well, all the time. But what if you can't go and make work? You know what I mean? And revisiting past work hasn't got the same thing for me.
Yeah. It's not as inspiring. Sure.
It's not. I was going through hard drives today looking for something else. And I came across stuff. And it was like, oh, right, okay, I can do this, I can do that. And of course, there's lots of stuff to be done. There's lots of upskilling to be done. There's lots of stuff that, people are talking about reading books and learning languages and all sorts of stuff. But whenever you're an artist and you have that drive, that whenever I go out and do work, that you come back, you do the work, it's tough enough, it's tight enough, it's professional. But the whole way through it, you're looking, I can't wait to go back and edit this stuff. I can't go back to process, I can't, all that stuff, it's taken away from you. You know what I mean? And now we're looking at, financial difficulties in a sense, all that stuff. But the fact that I can actually make work. Now, I can make work with regards to some stuff. But
you're really good at making work within your four walls.
No.
You got to admit, you do a really good
No,
job.
I can do it, but it's not the same, because it's never. It is the same. Okay, but whenever you're locked into something, it changes.
You're being pushed towards
Yeah.
those four walls.
Yeah, and
instead of it being voluntary.
And yeah, exactly. And somebody said something that was Rosalie who I said to me the other day about Anne Frank. I know it was 700 days or something in that. So we can all complain and stuff, and then of course, worse things happen at sea and all that stuff. But it is, you're right. I think whenever these people are sending stuff, whenever I hear good news stories, or the Arts Council in England or whatever, it kind of just buoys you up a bit mentally. Because for me, it's not a financial thing. God, an artist, my money's are my God, and I don't, we all have to survive, but it's the mental side of stuff. I've got photographs of that actually I took in your studio, and it was, I took them a few months ago, and it was me messing about with toilet roll around my head, and, I was doing, the photograph, but they've actually taken on a whole new sense now. It's like, but anyway, you're kind of, mentally I feel like I need to be doing stuff and making stuff, and I can't. I've been stopped by doing that. It's difficult. I mean, you're right, I do make work on four walls. And if I find it difficult, then it's difficult, I suppose. But
yep.
Those are the breaks. At least we're not unwell. Let me rub my hands. I rub my hands. I'm self-soothing, Rob. I'm self-soothing. I was going to go.
Give yourself a hug.
No.
Tell me what your news story is.
News story. Well, I've got a couple here, but anyway, one of them was the Arts Council dishing out the dosh. The other one is, now I don't know how I want this. What I will say to you is go to Belfast Exposed. They're doing a great thing. It's based around kids, and it's, I can't find the link to it anyway. It's kind of come up with a kind of photo comic book. You take photographs and you put them into this kind of placeholder. And you can do it at home. You can do it on your phone, you can do it on camera, whatever. And you can do stories around where we find ourselves or where we want to find ourselves or whatever. I was on to Deirdre yesterday, the day before. I just think it's great. I think this is the good stuff that can happen. Whenever, obviously Belfast Exposed, the doors of the gallery aren't open, but digitally there is stuff actually happening. So those are small stories. The other story was, and this is a very boring story. It's a very boring story, Rob. Let me.
Slow news week.
It's slow news week. Where are we? Oh, I hope I haven't opened another page over the page I was meant to open, as always happens. I'm good at this. I do it every week. Here we go. Let's see.
Sony,
but I've for some reason, won't bear with me. Oh, here it is. Where is it? Let me just look it up here. 2 seconds. You know it better than I do. There we go. Okay, Sony spin. This is very dull. Jesus Christ. Whenever I start talking about spin-offs and business, we know we're in a shitty situation. Sony spins off camera business.
Just wait till I get into this.
Pardon me for that. Sony spins off camera business into separate company. Early this morning, Sony announced that it would be spinning off its entire electronics products and solutions, EP&S. Now, electronic products and solutions. Who'd have put that together? Somebody big money to bring that up, including its imaging and mobile businesses, which definitely is where you and I are at there, into an intermediate holding company called Sony Electronic Corporations, SEC. Now, that does sound Blade Runner. I don't know if they're moving towards something that we don't know about, but the change will take place. This is the brilliant bit, on April the 1st. Sounds a bit suspicious, but anyway. Sony, parent company, outlined the plan in broad strokes, explaining that its imaging products and solutions, home entertainment and sound, and mobile communication business will all be run under a new name. I don't know what the crack there is because I'm not a business guy. I don't know if that would affect my shares in Sony or not. But as you said, it'll either go one way or the other. You know, there's probably pros and cons for the whole thing.
Yeah. Just seems a little shadowy.
It seems a bit shadowy, yeah.
There's something up.
Well, it does seem like something's up. It seems like they're selling the Mustang and they're going to keep the Mini. You know what I mean? There's something. I made up that analogy there now. I want to go British.
I can't see Sony getting rid of any of their divisions. Like, do they have a single division that doesn't make them money?
It's a good question. I doubt that very much.
I mean, I'm not a gamer. I don't know where, that whole thing is with video games and stuff. But
they do video games.
Well, they have their. It's not the Xbox.
Is
That's
it?
the Microsoft one.
God, I'm wrong. You know what? I know.
Yeah,
I
don't play video games at all, but they have a video game machine.
Rob, you and I both know that you're a Sonic the Hedgehog fan. That you play.
You're just saying that because you heard those words a couple weeks ago.
I have Sonic the Hedgehog not too far from here, the original. I'm sorry. What's the nonsense? No, yeah, anyway, we digress. I know what you're saying. No, are they gonna? I don't know what they're doing.
It just feels mysterious.
Yeah.
It could go either way. I doubt they're going to get rid of anything, but there's probably something in store, I would say, for that electronics division.
Well, that's it,
like they're gonna spin it into something else.
Have they made a ton of money? Have they made a ton of money on the back of, the expense of Nikon and Canon being, slow thinkers, and they're trying to push something in that direction? I don't know. If you read the thing, it makes it kind of, they're explaining everything kind of well, but it's like Black Ops, I suppose.
I don't know if anybody has an idea of what's going on with that. They can definitely put it down below in the comments.
Yes, that's a good idea. That's what we want, Rob. That's what we want to be. We want to be We want to be. I thought I had hair in my eyes, but that's impossible, isn't it? We want to target people in Japan who work for the corporation. Because what they can do is they can pass secrets to us, not like big secrets, just wee secrets. We flood the market with it, okay? Shackleton then get interested in the pot, and the coat's mine. The coat's mine. The £2,000 coat is mine. I walk about with it, and guess what happened this week, Rob? Not this week.
You got a new coat?
No, not this week. Last week, because things weren't as funny last week. I was doing a shoot, my last shoot before the whole caboodle kicks off, and I was with a wonderful actress, and I foolishly went under a barbed wire fence in my coat that I normally wear. Oh, Jesus. But the good thing was, Rob, and this isn't news, but it's news I suppose in a way, I heard it going. Whenever it's barbed wire sharp and it goes, and it just cuts a beautiful straight line. Well, then I started doing my shoot. We couldn't do that, so we moved away. We were doing shoot against gorse and everything. It was really nice. But every time I lifted my arm to take a photograph, feathers were coming out, like I was an angel. But it was like I had
an angel.
It was like I had an assistant with me, like just fluffing feathers over the talent. It was beautiful, and it went on for, I would say, I lost quite a lot of feathers. There's probably one empty arm, I would imagine. So
you're slightly off balance.
Slightly off balance. What I thought to myself at that point was, if Shackleton don't hear that story and feel slightly sorry for me, because I'm sure. Listen, I'm sure if you went under a barbed wire fence in their coat, the barbed wire would come worse off. Do you know what I mean? It would be blunted by the whole thing.
The barbed wire would be bleeding.
It'd be the barbed wire be telling the story, wouldn't it? Oh, I took a photograph and little bits of metal were flying out everywhere. That's me mocking you, by the way. Okay. I'm glad we moved away from that very boring Sony story. Rob, tell me your story.
Last two stories really quickly here.
Yeah.
We only have a couple minutes.
Shit. We've rambled. I've rambled.
So if you have any repairs that need done to your cameras, absolutely, 100%, call ahead and make sure that the repair center is open, and they're going to continue to be open, because you don't want your camera to go into repair and get stuck there as employees leave because of this pandemic.
Just sitting.
Because Canon and Nikon are both cutting back on the repair centers right now, and you can guarantee that Sony and Fuji and anybody else is going to be the same. Yeah. So don't go sending your camera off for repair unless you got a guarantee that you're going to be getting it back. There you go. And my last story is a real kicker. It kind of leads off from the last week when I was talking about copyright stuff. There was a copyright case in the United States that's just gone through, and it has found against the photographer. The photographer had sued North Carolina for using some of his images that date back like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
He sued them for using it, and he lost in the Supreme Court.
Goodness.
So that's it. It's gone to the Supreme Court. That's it. That's the law.
That's
the way it's going to run.
Yeah.
You don't, unless you run the lawsuit back up the flag, the next lawsuit back up the flagpole all the way to the Supreme Court. It's never going to change.
No.
So the only small tidbit is that in some of the fine print, that the photographer can still go after any third party that was involved in the transaction of
a glimmer of hope
using that image for that state. So if his images were used by the state of North Carolina, and North Carolina says, well, we have free and clear use to use your images without paying you or, recognizing you or whatever, okay, that's fine. But if there was another company in the middle of all that handed the image over to him or got the image back off the state to use again, then he could take that third party on.
Jeez.
So,
and what were the images?
That's copyright for you.
What were the images of? We don't know.
It was a boat called the Queen Anne's Revenge. It's a shipwreck off North Carolina, and this guy had photographed. He had videoed. Sorry, he had videotaped some of this shipwreck, but it also stands as far as stills or motion. Whatever. It's still copyright, image copyright. So, yeah, there you go.
Man. I can't imagine Cornwall doing the same.
Who?
Cornwall. The place, Cornwall.
I don't know. You never know. You just never know with copyright. I
threw you.
You got me with the Cornwall.
Didn't I throw you? Rob, I've realised something.
What's that?
I don't know how it's going to work. I bought a crystal this week. Okay. Just bear with me.
You've been wearing a crystal?
I bought a crystal. I'm holding it up now. But it's usually tucked. It's on an old shoelace because I didn't get a leather tabard to wear it on, or whatever the leather thing's called. So I usually wear it inside against my skin, but it's been sitting outside the whole time. I look like Aleister Crowley.
It's not flaring out on the light, is it?
Jeez, I hope there's some sort of rainbow effect coming off it. I got it. It was delivered today, and I couldn't wait to put it on to try and cleanse my. I'm moving away from society, but I'm doing it secretly. It's usually inside, but it's been outside the whole time. So if I do look like Aleister Crowley, I can only apologise.
No problem, Chris.
Okay, bud. Interesting stories, thin on the ground, but I think we flashed that out pretty well.
Yeah. But something to think about, all those, they all have a basis to think about. Copyright, your repair centers, Adobe, and anybody else that's doing great things for photographers, during this pandemic, and then your stories as well.
Well, I think we should also put a link in. It should be a music link. Maybe we should do this, occasionally whenever things are needed. And I think this one should be when the going gets tough. The tough get going. I don't know how that works for royalties, Rob. You'll know that better than I will, copyright wise. But I am an estate right now, so maybe that kind of counts for being a state. I don't know. But we should maybe put a link there because there's times are tight.
Yep.
What are you wearing, Rob?
Well, Chris,
do you have to go? It's time to go.
Yeah, your phone's breaking up. I can barely hear you, but it's also time to go.
Okay.
Thanks again, and we'll do this again next week.
Namaste.